CBDC, a digital pound for the UK. Now then, is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing? Today we shall have a look into it in a bit more detail and to look at the pros and cons. Pros being what we are being told by the government and the Bank of England, and the cons which they really don't want us to know about. So, be aware on how they will sell it. So the digital pound is being looked into in a massive way. The infrastructure is being designed, or so we are being told, but to be honest, it's more likely in its final stages of completion where they are testing it to make sure it is secure and works properly along all platforms of payments. To join some of the dots with the digital pound, let's have a brief look at the bigger global picture on CBDCs. SWIFT, short for the Society for the Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications, is a Belgian company similar to Euroclear. SWIFT has recently announced its plans to launch a new central bank digital currency platform and its intention to be up and running in the next 12 to 24 months. This initiative signifies a move towards greater or indeed all government control over financial transactions. It's also worth noting that the timeline for these developments has shifted significantly since they were first mentioned over a year ago. This is what was being said roughly a year ago. Ambiguous statements echoed by the Bank for International Settlements alongside a coalition of political leaders worldwide, predominantly from the United States and Europe. Their stance revolves around the uncertainty of digital currencies, necessity, citing ongoing deliberations and the development of legal frameworks. Some even hint that the fruition of digital currencies may not be guaranteed, urging for calm amidst the discussions. Here is a short clip of Chair of the Federal Reserve of the United States, Jerome Powell, giving a vague comment regarding the progress of the digital dollar.
The conclusion that we should propose, or anything like that, that Congress consider legislation to authorize a digital dollar. And it would take legislation by Congress signed by the President to give us the ability to do what we think of as a CBDC, which is really a retail CBDC with the public of it. So we're just a long, long way from that.
A week later after this video, SWIFT is stating that they'll be launching the platform within the next 24 months. With this in mind, would it be safe to say that the platform has been fully tested and is ready to go? Now SWIFT has a truly vast network operational in 200 countries and serving as the platform for almost 1,000 banks worldwide. It is being reported that 90% of the world's central banks are now looking into their own digital currencies. Now the word reported to me means it's in huge development but being kept quiet at the same time. Back to the digital pound or Bitcoin, depending on what they will finally call it. What the Bank of England are stating. Money sits at the heart of our economy and everyday lives. Today we can pay in many different ways, including using banknotes issued by the Bank of England or electronically from your bank account. Whichever way you choose to pay, you can always trust the value of the money you're spending or receiving. A digital pound would be like a digital form of cash, a banknote for the digital era. Like banknotes, it would be issued directly by the Bank of England. You could hold your digital pounds in a digital wallet and spend them in shops or online. This type of money is known as a central bank digital currency, CBDC. May also hear it being called digital sterling or even Bitcoin. We call the UK version of CBDC a digital pound. A digital pound would be denominated in sterling and its value would be stable, just like banknotes. £10 in digital pounds would always have the same value as a £10 banknote. If we introduced it, it would not replace cash. We know being able to use cash is important for many people. That's why we will continue to issue it for as long as people want to keep using it. You would simply have even more choice when you make payments. The digital pound will not be a cryptocurrency or crypto asset, as opposed to cryptocurrencies, which are issued privately A digital pound would be issued by the Bank of England and be backed by the government. Just like the money you use today, your trust in a digital pound would be essential. Any future laws on a digital pound would guarantee users' privacy and also guarantee that neither the Bank of England nor the government would be able to control how you spend your money. It would be your choice whether to use a digital pound or not. A digital pound is likely to be needed to fulfill our mission. The way people pay for things is changing. People are not using cash as much as they used to. Digital payments are becoming more common. There are also new forms of money and new technologies on the horizon. These could help make it easier or quicker to buy things we want, but some of these things could pose risks to the UK's financial stability. In light of these trends, the Bank of England and HM Treasury judge there is likely to be a future need for and benefits from a digital pounds. The money we issue as the UK Central Bank is the anchor of confidence in our monetary system. This type of money supports the UK's monetary and financial stability. Today, banknotes are the only type of money we provide for the public to use. Having a digital pound could help us to keep providing this anchor for the UK. Cash is also very important to ensure people are able to exchange one type of money for another. For example, you can withdraw the money you have in a bank account as banknotes at a cash machine. This is known as uniformity of money. Having a digital pound could help us to keep this uniformity in a future where the majority of payments are digital. The digital pound could also help to improve the options people have for making payments. The model we propose for the digital pound would enable private companies to innovate, make payments more efficient, and give consumers more choice. The next steps for a digital pound. We haven't made a decision on whether we will introduce a digital pound. Work is ongoing in the design phase to develop further the technology and policy requirements for a digital pound. We will undertake experiments with innovative private sector firms to test how it will work in the real world. At the end of the phase, we will make a decision on whether to move into a build phase. Parliament would also have a say before any digital pound is launched, and further public consultation would be held to make sure you have the opportunity to make your views heard. What makes me worried is that it states if we introduced it, it would not replace cash. We know being able to use cash is important for many people. That's why we will continue to issue it for as long as people want to keep using it. Now, to me, there are two lies already in this one statement. It will be introduced no matter how they lie and deceive us at this moment in time, and it will replace cash, whether it be sooner rather than later, due to the fact that a lot of retailers are now refusing to take cash, a position they are being forced into by all accounts. Just like the money you use today, your trust in digital pound would be essential. Any future laws on a digital pound would guarantee users privacy and also guarantee that neither the Bank of England nor the government would be able to control how you spend your money. It would be your choice whether to use a digital pound or not. Your trust in a digital pound, pushing the onus onto us, even though it won't be. Guaranteeing users privacy and also guaranteeing the Bank of England and the government would not be able to control how we spend it. You only have to look at China for the massive contradiction of this, as Rishi Sunak does like their way of thinking when it comes to control. Just briefly, around a year ago, the Chinese government controlled over 14 million people using the digital currency to the point of what travel, whether it be by travel from airplanes to trains and taxis, right down to what food they can and cannot buy. Why the government did this? It was based on how much you spoke out against the government. And yes, this will happen in the UK. The digital pound is likely to be needed to fulfill our mission. Your mission, not ours. Yes, it will be slightly quicker to tap your card or phone over the card machine than it is to hand over cash and wait for the change. hence why we tend to use digital ways of paying. But also bear in mind, as stated earlier, that a lot of retailers won't accept cash anymore. And as for the uniformity of cash being withdrawn, how is that going to last when all our high street banks are slowly but surely closing? Yes, there will be the odd cash machines dotted around outside of certain shops, but for how much longer? The next steps for a digital pound. We haven't made a decision on whether we will introduce a digital pound. Well, that is a blatant lie. As discussed earlier, it's in its final stages. As for our views being heard, I seriously doubt it, don't you? So, some of the pros probably going to be sold to us by the government and the Bank of England. A more stable and safe way of banking on all different platforms, from buying online to going to the shops. It can protect and safeguard your money from being hacked. It can help prevent any terrorism acts, as there will be no cash flow around. Yes, there will be a few more that the government will try and sell you on, and yes, they will be feasible ones one way or another. But bear in mind, just like your pound coin, there are more than two sides to it. Cons. Now this to me are the more important ones, and they really override all the pros the government and the Bank of England can come up with to sell it to you. And this one word is control. Your rights can be taken away, your money can disappear, they can access your account whenever they want, with or without your permission, which they probably do anyway. Just like in China, if you speak out against the government, there will be restrictions on what you can and can't buy, for example buying a train ticket to see family or friends, or certain types of food. Bringing in other things such as ULEZ charges or pay per mile. You won't have a say in this, the money will just disappear from your account. Paying bills you don't agree with, the list goes on. Your rights, your freedom on any level will all be controlled. Is this part of the big reset? This will be the beginning of the end on so many levels.